Well, hello everyone. Hope you guys have had good lunch and you guys are no longer in food coma. So, for next 15 minutes, bear with me and we'll go on a ride with Amazon FSx for Lustre for your high computing workload need and generative AI with AI ML solution building journey and how AWS helps with your with Amazon FSx for Lustre. Before I jump into the topic, right, so we all know how FSx for Lustre file system has been a dominant storage system for any high performance computing storage and workload need. For this session, we want to deviate a little from the high performance compute, and then we're going to talk in the context of AI and ML, how Amazon for FSx for Lustre not only supports high performance computing workload, but rather also generative AI and ML solution building process. You must have seen this slide in one form or other at other presentations too, right? So data and storage is an important foundational block for any ML model deployment, whether it is foundational model or these traditional ML models. So traditional models and foundational model, irrespective of type of models that you have, right, storage choices and the supporting infrastructure is key for any Gen AI adoption or your AI ML journey, if you will. And that is where, at Amazon, if you are using and building your foundational model, or even if you are going to be building your own model or any foundational model, what we see as the strongest foundation that can offer you that data and storage need is Amazon Simple Storage Service, Amazon S3 Storage. And Amazon S3 Storage Service is virtually such a storage platform infrastructure that offers you virtually unlimited storage capacity with 11 nines of durability, 4 nines of availability. And just so everyone is informed about this data point we have on the S3 is, our customers who are building their models based on S3, they are storing massive amount of data on Amazon S3, using S3 as their data lake. Today, over 1 million data lake runs on Amazon S3, storing structured and unstructured data. And then we have over 400 trillion objects that we store on Amazon S3. So that tells us, how important it is to have a scalable and durable storage foundation that helps you building your AI and ML based solution for an ML need. So couple that with Amazon for FSx Lustre. We did have a deep dive which team delivered yesterday. Amazon FSx for Lustre is a purpose-built managed offering, AWS managed Lustre file system, which has native integration with Amazon S3. So meaning, you can have your data stored in S3 and then that data be presented as a file interface, via file interface by front-ending using Amazon for FSx Lustre. So there is a need, where we see a lot of ML training job requires, latency in the data loading time. While FSx for Lustre, front-ending the data is stored in S3, it expedites the process by preloading the data that you are storing in S3, because S3 is going to be the single source of truth holding entire data set that you'll be using for your training job. Now, FSx Lustre, it works as if you can think of it as a caching layer, right? It presents the data stored in S3 to your training cluster by front-ending with the file interface, and that's where it comes into picture. Now, the message that the key message here is, irrespective of model types, traditional model or the foundational model that you use, having a strong storage foundation for your data need is the key, and Amazon AWS S3 and FSx Lustre works in conjunction to provide you that capability to meet your need. Again, like I said earlier, so outside of HPC, right? When it comes to ML and AI workload, any ML solution and training need, it provides, you need a stable infrastructure, where you have ability to use existing pre-trained data, or you have your own data and you want to train your own model, whether it be using Amazon fully managed service called Amazon SageMaker. You can use it to train your model, or you can also train your own model using multiple combination of AWS services. That includes some of the services like Amazon EC2, EKS, ECS, you name it. From the storage side though, there is a component called Amazon S3 again, like very expected, and then FSx for Lustre, in addition to some of the storage offerings we have available using, let's say, EFS, Elastic File Systems, and so forth. So, and why we're talking here, right? So every machine learning life cycle, you must have seen some form of this slide everywhere. The key highlight that I want to present here is, it is in each stage of your ML life cycle, storage infrastructure plays a key role in all of these areas, right? Some of them are harder in one area and some of them are less in the other. But one thing that we have seen that it plays a key role in training model is first the prepare stage where you have to have a massive amount of data to create and train your own model, and then coming back to the training part, right? You cannot essentially when it comes to effective usage of your resource and your training cluster, if you don't have a infrastructure where you are not effectively using the resources, and most of the time, training data requires a lot of, is very resource intensive work, right? And what we have found is, you'll be storing data outside of your training cluster, and loading that data into the training cluster is where we see a delay in training time, leading to delay in your entire deployment stage in any machine learning life cycle. This is not something new. I mean, for this, at least for this community, right? How FSx Lustre system works, right? So reads and then writes for every single client. What I want to highlight here is there is one common observation between how a Lustre file system performs in terms of reads and write. Amazon FSx for Lustre, it works the same way like it works on any Lustre file system that you use. Again, Amazon FSx for Lustre, I keep on repeating Amazon FSx for Lustre, so, bear with me. I'm going to start using FSxL for simplicity and not to repeat the same verbiage there. So Lustre is architected, FSx for Lustre is architected in a way that, where you can add more storage or more disk. When you are adding it, you are adding more servers. So performance is actually scaling with storage capacity. Larger the file system, more disk and more servers and more throughput and even more IOPS, right? Now, irrespective of what kind of Lustre file, FSx for Lustre file system you deploy, you can expect a different level of throughput and IOPS. But when you see, if you look at the far right hand side, irrespective of any of those deployment, all of these deployment have consistent latency regardless of the size of the file system, which is in sub-milliseconds. This last December during reInvent, we announced this feature called Throughput on Demand. Throughput on Demand, throughput scaling feature on Amazon FSxL. This is a new feature that we recently announced, and with this feature, in just a matter of a click or a few clicks in Amazon console, you can increase the throughput of your file system in minutes. So you simply change the file system performance level in the console, and changes are automatically implemented with the change in performance and price visible to you, yourself in the standard monitoring views. And everyone is aware now, right? So how building up a production-ready Lustre file system takes, if not weeks, then it's months. Now, you're already using Lustre system for your high-performance compute workload. Couple that with the emerging need of AI and ML need, right? So adding more capacity, making it more production ready, and then having an infrastructure that is ready for your ML training job or ML need. We're talking about a few more months. Now, let's shorten that. Let's shorten that window from months to minutes and hours. So with Amazon FSx for Lustre, you can simply spin up Amazon FSx for Lustre file system in a matter of minutes, if not hours. And something that is a key value proposition for the technical audiences like us. How we can scale our initiatives by not having to be limited by the availability of the resources and the time it takes to create such cluster. So this, I believe, team, for those of you who joined yesterday's session too, team also had a deep dive on, this technology called Elastic Fabric Adapter. Elastic Fabric Adapter, you can think of it as a analogous to InfiniBand, in your on-premises based deployment where you spin up your Lustre-based file system, right? So how does FSXL achieve that high amount of throughput and IOPS, right? It achieves its highest throughput by using this AWS proprietary protocol called SRD protocol, where it uses EFA, Elastic Fabric Adapter, to increase the network throughput utilization and by bypassing the operating system during data transfer. And that's the use. If you were to draw an analogy between how this EFA works with FSx for Lustre file system with, you can think of InfiniBand for your on-premises Lustre cluster, right? For this context here, in terms of the ML and AI, EFA, Elastic Fabric Adapter, now supports NVIDIA GPU Direct Storage, GDS in short. So with the launch, Amazon FSx Lustre now provides the fastest storage performance for your GPU instances in the cloud. And there's a metric that we have put at the top here. So in our prior deployment of FSXL, we could expect up to 100 gigabits per second of throughput per client instance. But with this EFA implementation, now we can expect up to 12 times. So if you look at the scale and then the improvement that we have introduced for this FSXL, and then working with the EFA and the GPU Direct, that's the kind of throughput you can expect, right? So you can complete your machine learning training jobs faster, and even you can reduce your workload that is incurred by running your training jobs. While keeping this conversation short, and then what I want to showcase here is this is just a representation, right? That and it's a customer case study to show you that there is an art of possible that you can accomplish using FSXL. One customer, Adobe. Most of us may have been using Adobe in one form or other, like one of the products like Adobe Express is one of that's the first thing that comes to my mind. So it does have that integration that is available for you to use on Adobe portfolio today. So what Adobe did was Adobe trained its foundation model and created this multi-model foundation model with Firefly. That's the family that they use. And they trained and they built their own foundational model using Amazon S3 and yes, FSx for Lustre in combination with some other services like Amazon EC2 instance and so forth. Now, this feature, it has been, as you can see, some of the codes that the Adobe team has presented and then made it available for our customers to use. What in today's presentation here, in today's session, there are multiple things that we would like you to take away out of this session. We all know how Lustre is the dominant and dominant file system for your running your Lustre-based file systems for your high-performance computing workload. Now, in addition to that, I believe during our last session, right, there are so many myths about Lustre can do this, and then the competition comes and goes. I believe I like that code. I'll be using that very often. Competition comes and goes, but then being able to adopt and implement these emerging technologies into your existing stack is something that we would like you to take away with. So, out of this session, try Amazon for FSx for Lustre for your HPC workload, and we have customers using it. And then you are also considering developing and implementing ML-based solution. Try us. Try using Amazon FSx for Lustre for such workload. And then lastly, right, there are so many technical questions you may have, but there might be some deeper dive that you wanted to have. Engage us. If you wanted to have a deeper dive on how FSx for Lustre works with what are the competitive advantages and what are the things that you can use in terms of knowledge transfer, right? You're already using FSx Lustre. You're already using on-premises Lustre systems. Try Amazon FSx for Lustre. Use it, test it on your HPC workload, and also for your ML need, try it out. Come find us. If you have dedicated account team, please reach out to your account team from the AWS side. Engage us, and then we'd be happy to have a follow-up. You want to get started with the POC or some kind of test that you want to perform. We'd love to have you engage and try this service. So just in the interest of time, and then the content that we have developed to keep it brief and short, we want to leave you with this QR code to learn more. And we have technical experts from the AWS side here. If you wanted to have a conversation outside of this session, please come find us. We'd be happy to walk you through how our customers are using it, and then how you can also think and consider and even try out some of the capabilities that we have come up with FSx for Lustre for your high performance computing need, as well as the ML solution building need. With that, I would like to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any question?
Okay, well, grab your QR code now before we continue to the next speaker. So thank you very much to Amazon for supporting us